couple of years ago, I put out a video ranking the best future coaster concepts coming to the marketplace, and we've seen a couple of those actually be built, like the Intamin Hot Racer. Other ones have disappeared off the face of the earth. But there was one in the video that stood out as far and away the best. This was the concept that could have broken the coaster world like we've never seen it before. This was the RMC T Rex. The RMC T Rex was a concept that would have taken everything we thought about coasters and thrown it on its head. Okay, that was a little corny. It wasn't like that crazy, but it was a big deal. Because for a little while, RMC told us that they would be building a coaster capable of reaching 500 feet with a full layout, and we believed it. None of that straight up, straight down nonsense like Dragster or Ka, full on layout with inversions and airtime hills 500 feet in the air. Just thinking about that sounds too good to be true. Imagine having a 0G roll the height of Mako, or a speed hill 100 feet in the air. But as with many things that sound too good to be true, it was. The T Rex was announced a couple years ago at this point, and we've heard absolutely nothing since. RMC announced it at IAAPA and even had test track to show off how thick it was. And yeah, they said it was still in development, not fully out yet, but it was also pretty close to completion, so I feel like at this point would have heard something by now. Now, at first I thought it was taking so long because of the Raptors. I thought that they didn't want to compete with their own Raptors by making something larger and superior with the same technology, but then they started making Raptors bigger and with more unique designs, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of a Raptor to begin with. The Raptors were supposed to be cloned layouts so that parks could copy and paste over and over again, and while there have been some clones, it's nowhere near the success I think they were hoping for, which is why I think they're starting to build bigger when parks are asking for it. Now, was this always the goal? We'll never know for sure, but I think that the Raptors were supposed to stay clones, and then if a park that needed higher capacity wanted a larger ride like Great Adventure or Magic Mountain, they would build a T-Rex. Raptors were never meant to have friggin' 12-car trains. This is why it's so slow. I think Raptors started to take up the space that was meant for T-Rexes. I mean, just think about where an RMC T-Rex would go. I know the obvious answer would be Cedar Point, but after that, where would it go? Magic Mountain. But they already have an RMC single rail now, so does it really make sense to build another T-Rex? And so is the second biggest Six Flags park, Great Adventure. These mega parks that the T-Rex was designed for can't really take it. That's the first reason this isn't happening. There aren't any parks big enough to take it. Like I said, Six Flags is out of the question because their big ones already have a big Raptor. The only park I could think of would be Great America, which is certainly possible, but I feel like it's not super probable for other reasons I haven't talked about yet. Cedar Fair has a rocky relationship with RMC, no pun intended, so no Cedar Point, no Kings Island, none of those big parks. I don't know how true that rumor really is, but considering they haven't built another RMC after Steel Vengeance and Twisted Timbers, with both of those being pretty massive successes and their kind of loose article shenanigans, I think it's at least a little bit valid. Hershey just got an RMC and just got another massive coaster like 2 years ago, so they're not getting anything for a while. Dollywood and Silver Dollar City wouldn't want to mess up their skyline, plus Silver Dollar City needs a lot of other coasters before getting a T-Rex. Now, BGT already has a massive RMC, so that's out of the question, but BGW isn't completely out. It would be completely different from anything they have there, and it would compete pretty well with I-305. The other two parks I could see are Fuji-Q Highland and Energylandia, but this doesn't take into account the two other reasons. Number one, price. Yeah, this would be cheaper than a 500-foot like Intamin or B&M, but it still wouldn't be cheap. The least expensive I could see this being is like the price of a B&M Giga. That's not like terrible. We see Gigas pop up all the time. Well, if we do, then like where are they? Where are the Gigas? The last B&M Giga we saw was Orion, which was 3 years ago, and it was a project that was in the works for a long time. Since the pandemic, I really just don't think it's in the cards for Fuji-Q or BGW. I mean, we've seen both of their editions like kind of collapse, with BGW going from a friggin' switch track Intamin Blitz to an indoor family coaster, and Fuji-Q Highland going from Ajanika to a motorbike family coaster. I don't think an RMC T-Rex is really in the budget for either of these parks. Fuji-Q has to also earthquake-proof everything, which would make it even more expensive than it already is, and SeaWorld is kind of scaling back on their editions, with the biggest ones being like a mid-size B&M. Maybe pre-pandemic when they were going crazy with Intamins and RMCs, but now I think they've kind of moved on from that kind of spending into smaller, more family editions. The last park I think we could see as a contender is Energylandia, and to be honest, I have no real rebuttal for this park. Like, if any park gets a T-Rex, it's this one. But here's the issue. I feel like if they were gonna do it, they would have already done it. The T-Rex has kind of been a thing for a long enough time that if it was really on their radar, I feel like they would have built it at the latest 2023, but it just didn't happen, and I just don't think it will. They already have Zadra, which kind of fills in that massive RMC gap, and yeah, even though Zadra and an RMC T-Rex would be very different rides, I don't think Energylandia really cares. I feel like parks don't care about like filling in the gaps as much as enthusiasts do. Like, if it's really expensive and they've already worked with RMC for building like a massive ground up RMC, why would they not just build a B&M dive coaster or B&M wing coaster for like a fraction of the cost? Wow, I never thought I'd say a dive coaster would be a fraction of the cost of something else. The point I'm trying to make is that when it came onto the scene, it was all big and flashy, and I'm sure it was enticing to a lot of parks. But as more parks have worked with RMC over time and circumstances have drastically changed and raptors have started to get bigger, I just don't really see this as a viable option anymore. Like, it'd be stupid for a park to build one, especially if they didn't go for the 500-foot record. Like, imagine if the RMC T Rex, like the one and only RMC T Rex ever built, was a 300-foot Giga that was just like a bigger raptor. I'm sure it'd be a great ride, but it'd also be kind of a letdown for a model with this much potential. Like, we finally got the coveted 500-foot super coaster, and it's not 500 feet. That would kind of suck. But what actually happened to the model? Does RMC still sell it and no one bites? If I'm gonna be honest, I just think it got canceled. With the continued success of their hybrids and the fact that they build those ground up and the Raptors becoming larger, it doesn't really make sense for them to keep this around and suck up time and resources to fully get it out. Unless the park was head over heels in love with it and said that they wanted one before it was finished, I feel like canceling it would be the best move. Scrapping it maybe for when their hybrids start to fall off or their Raptors don't get any bigger, and then maybe reopening research. Who knows? And that's pretty much it. I know this was a shorter video, but I just wanted to get another video out before my trip to Magic Mountain. There's going to be a bunch of videos on that, so get ready. Thank you so much for watching till the end, and I will see you next time.